Welcome to the Essentially Translatable podcast brought to you by Lutheran Bible Translators. My name is Rich Rudowske. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at LBT. Today's episode is a test episode to test out my pop filter to see if I don't pop all my P's like I always used to do. Let's see how it turns out. Welcome to the Essentially Translatable podcast brought to you by Lutheran Bible Translators. I'm Rich Rudowske.
And I'm Emily Wilson.
Welcome to these
Essentially Translatable podcast
Brought to you by
Lutheran Bible Translators.
brought to you by Lutheran Bible Translators.
So that's how my voice sounds in my head, that last one.
That's what you would be if you were on the Chipmunks movie.
Right.
There's another career lined up for you.
Yes.
Welcome to the Essentially Translatable podcast.
Yes.
Side hustle.
So it's going to be like that today. We are nearing it is April Fool's, and it is nearing the 2-year anniversary of the beginning of this podcast. And
We thought you deserved a little treat.
yeah,
Little something.
our producer, Andrew Olson, who you hear about every week if you listen all the way through to the credits, both of you that do that, he is here in the studio with us. And over a couple of years has compiled some wonderful stuff that hasn't made it to the podcast yet until today.
Well, there was some things that were just so unforgettable we couldn't let them go. We just had to immortalize them in an episode now where we will play them for everyone to hear.
So it's been a lot of fun on the podcast, and that we just wanted to share some of the good times with you here.
It's not all serious all the time.
Right.
Yeah, when you look behind the scenes of this podcast, there's a lot of great things that happen, and the comedy is one of those things that we don't share a lot of on the actual official podcast, but I'm happy that we can throw that curtain open and let everybody get an inside look here on what it's really like to be part of this team, really. So this is what I get to enjoy as the editor all the time. Yeah.
When we got this wonderful studio set, a couple other folks on the podcast team we should give a shout out to: Caleb Rudowske, Sarah Lyons. They do all the great artwork that you see on a weekly basis. And when all this equipment that we're sitting around came in, then Caleb and Sarah tested out first, and they gave us some real gems, right?
Someone gave them access to the microphones here, and he gave us some things to remember. Here, this one's called Smiles Are Important.
Well, thank you to coming to Essentially Translatable, the translatable where I essentially translate. Next week, we have Bob the Builder on. We're going to insert a part about Bob the Builder right there.
Oi, mate.
All right. Then we clap. All right. And cut.
Yeah, so Caleb is well, if I'm ever unable to make it, I can be confident that he'll stand in nicely for.
I was going to say, we've had a couple of episodes where we had tech support provided by.
That's true.
I mean, we're getting there, you know. We're pretty much to a point of automation, but you know, every once in a while we get a Bob the Builder moment.
That's right.
And it's pretty fabulous.
Yeah. The next one we have here is called What a Privilege, and this is one of my favorites for all time. Here we go.
What a privilege to hear from a guy who has dedicated his life to biblical scholarship. Cut. And it was a bit much, too. People are going to be like, Rich Rudowske never talks like that.
What a privilege.
I said what a privilege so many times in the episode, too, so we're not going to do that either.
Oh, man. I love that
Most
one.
of the
because,
outtakes are me saying dumb stuff and Emily going...
I have to have some measure of composure.
She's like, I'm trying to be professional here. All right.
Well, you're talking about all this good stuff, and then, you know, what a privilege. All right. Well, the next one we have coming up here, I feel like a DJ kind of like spooling up the next track at the wedding dance or something. But here we go. It's Are You Registered for This Class?
This is the intro outro for Rob Hilbert, episode 28. If that's not where you intend to be, you should leave now. Are you registered for this class, ma'am? Okay. Okay, let's go. There we go. Where does this stuff even come
See,
from?
the problem is this. It's like,
Yep.
so you lead up with that, and then I have to move forward and then try to respond because, Andrew, you can do like all kinds of magic, but then he gets me in laughing fits, and then I'm trying to remember what I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah, how do you even get out of a laughing
I can't. I can't. There have been so many times of just like, okay, we're on take 5.
Yeah, we actually should give a shout out to Sarah Esela. Give her a shout out because she and I have a weekly meeting and it directly follows podcast recording time. And then that means she's always shortchanged because we're in here trying to clean up these messes.
See, the part I want to understand is what do you tell the guest when they're observing all this? Wait, we're not like this all the time. But it kind of is.
So the guests, the funny stuff happens when the guests aren't here. So we record those intro,
that's
outro
true.
separate. And although we had some good guest content here once in a while too, but
Yep.
we didn't consult with all of them. So we'll probably pull them in another time. My favorite is Tilahun saying, "I am the President of the United States of America." We'll have to pull that one out sometime. Anyways, what's up?
The next one we have is called Relax. Here we go.
Yeah, with this podcast, our editor is actually quite phenomenal. So
Say what?
relax. We can just relax.
There you go.
We're all just busting a groove in here.
I'm relaxed myself personally.
Those are the little tidbits that make my life so happy as an editor. I just listen to you guys. I'm like,
When we say phenomenal editor, then that means he's going to drop the beat.
you guys are great hosts. It's fun to edit this stuff. All right. Next one coming up is called One-Liner.
I don't know how all this tech works. I just sit behind the microphone and look pretty. Have a face
You're
for
welcome.
radio. Thank you very much. The one-liner, if the LBT insiders who should be listening to this podcast, the one-liner means a whole different thing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Marketing Made Simple.
Marketing made simple, the one-liner.
We've got war stories here, so.
It's a problem, solution, result.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's a one-liner.
Keep it simple.
So that one is like, the one-liner structure for that one was, I don't know how to work this tech. That's a problem. I just sit here behind the mic. It's the solution and result and look pretty. See?
Is the look pretty part the result, or is that?
I don't know. You guys are more in the marketing than I am. I'm just thinking. What would
I was
the
going to
result
say
be then?
the
Is
result. The result would be, well, okay, we don't have actually a solution, right? The result is actually the sitting
that
behind.
I look behind the mic and look pretty?
Yeah, and so the implicit that's actually not included, your full one-liner is not present. You actually still need a solution, which is Andrew.
And I just, yeah.
Yeah, so
I was thinking
I don't know how this
problem
tech
was
works.
looking pretty, then I would slot right in. That would be perfect.
So, yeah, that's right. So if we go around the table, I'm problem. Andrew, solution.
Wait a second.
I just
Let's
said
do
by
that.
the.
Let's go that way.
All right.
All right. Next one coming up is the real Emily Wilson, and you're going to get a little slice of that. Here we go.
This is real Emily coming out.
And the recording is on.
Yep.
So, yes, real Emily.
The very real Emily for
Yes,
the
that's
spiritual
That
warfare.
would be a spin-off podcast. The real Emily.
The real life of Emily.
Yeah. Will the real Emily Wilson please stand up?
Always sit
There's a
down.
lot of Emily Wilsons.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, even of Emily Marie Wilsons.
There are.
So
It
check
is
that out
overwhelming.
on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Follow us.
Follow all of them and compare and contrast. Okay,
Oh, dear.
here we go. Oh, I got the wrong thing up here. I'm actually not sure how people listening are going to differentiate between the clips and us talking after the clips. We're going to have to throw a little drum beat in there or something.
There we go.
So all we have to do is put
Little
out,
groan.
we put out Emily's social security number, then they'll have all the information they need from that post.
Emily gained 300 followers as a result of this podcast.
Then they started comparing and contrasting.
I said, oh, no. That's not one way.
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Now I'm curious, though. What are the other Emily Wilsons up to anyway these days? It's not really a name.
One of them tried to
knitting.
connect with me because we had the exact same name. And I was like, that's probably not reason enough.
Probably trying to cash a check or something.
Maybe.
Right.
Like, oh, could you sign your name? I really want to see if our signatures compare.
Same
Oh,
thing,
hey.
yeah.
Sounds like a name with wakeboarding or, a ski-doo in the ocean somewhere or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily Wilson Cosmetics and
Yeah.
Activewear.
Could we go like cheeseburgers? The Emily Wilsonator.
Oh,
All right. Well, next up here we have You Don't Have to Be Lutheran, but...
While we have a break in the action, we have a word from our sponsor, Lutheran Bible Translators, who reminds you don't have to be Lutheran to translate the Bible, but it doesn't hurt. lbt.org/go to find out more. That was poor marketing. lbt.org/go to find out how you can put God's word in their hands.
there you go.
Was that better? That was better. There we go. See,
Nice.
marketing's all part of the deal.
We even have a commercial break on this one.
Yeah.
Fabulous. We should have them more often.
It's possible.
We need to
Yeah.
find some sponsors first.
Right.
Have a
Well,
commercial
Lutheran Bible
break.
Translators has generously sponsored this podcast. Very generously, in fact. They may not feel they're getting their money's worth today. I'm not really sure. But you don't have to be Lutheran to translate the Bible.
But it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some perks there.
Yeah.
Next, we have another blooper from Caleb and Sarah. This one's called the Monster Truck Podcast. I think they're living in an alternate reality here where we are actually a Monster Truck Podcast. That would be pretty nice.
Oh, no, that's a good
You can do so many things, and then
monster truck sound bites to share with people.
yeah, it's a lot of cool
Very
stuff.
nice.
Welcome. We just have such a blast here talking about monster trucks
Oh, yeah,
and
they got big wheels.
big wheels.
That's the best thing about them is the size of the wheels. You stand next to them, you look small. What's better than that?
What's better than that?
What could possibly be better?
Big wheels, mud, and looking small.
Yeah. Excellent.
I'm sold. Big
sure.
tires, small people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just as a frame of
small.
reference.
Right.
Sarah looks small regardless.
Monster Truck Monday at the Metrodome.
got-
Get your tickets for $20.
They got big wheels.
What more could you want?
Yeah.
Got big wheels.
Oh, my goodness. Monster Truck Podcast spinning off of Essentially
We
Translatable.
got a lot of spin-offs coming up here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy
Emily
year.
Podcast. I know. The studio's going to be rocking it.
Got brands coming down the pipe.
Yep.
All right, number 12 coming up. I'm loving it.
Gets to listen to all this stuff. Andrew, if we haven't told you lately, we love you.
I'm loving it. Is this the place to eat? Since I don't cook, I'll just rock to the beat. I'm loving it.
Andrew has a lot of outtakes that he'll be able to put together. One of these days, we'll be able to do a bonus
Oh,
episode.
that'll be good. I love it.
Subscribers behind the paywall can get the
Yes.
outtakes. Or the paywall, I forgot about that idea. I'm over here doing this for no extra money.
Oh, man. It's all for free. We love
That's
you
right.
that much, guys.
We do. Yep. We don't get paid extra to do this. So if you feel like it's not
Just
worth
the
much,
joy.
right.
It's all in the joy.
Down in our hearts. Where?
Well, McDonald's paid no extra for that product placement
Correct.
right there.
Speaking of McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming up again in another outtake here, number 13, all about McDonald's.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with Ishni Veit and Tiffany Smith.
Unless you're in the car.
If you're in the car, stay alert. Do not close your eyes while driving and listening to Essentially Translatable.
You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be passive. Just
Right.
be assertive.
Assertive and defensive in the positive sense of the word, really.
Yeah.
The voice of experience.
Hey,
Hey.
curb.
Or
Look
McDonald's.
both ways.
Right. If you're coming out of that McDonald's, just look both ways.
Look both ways.
Yeah. Take it slow.
Yeah.
You already got your food, so it's not like you're rushing now. I mean, like if you're on the way.
Maybe they were on the way to church too, and maybe they were like, you know what? I really need. What do they even serve there?
Yeah, like one of them hash browns. That's the breakfast go-to for me. Would be that hash brown. And maybe they hadn't had a sip of the coffee yet, and maybe they were like running a little late for church. They were like, "I'm gonna pray for you," as they. So, you probably got
like, yeah, I'm gonna pray for you.
Okay. Yeah, for all the listeners, I feel like Emily had just been in a small car accident on her way to church right before we recorded that. Yeah.
All right. Another detail here.
Sure.
It was Rich was guest preaching.
Sure.
And I was on my way to church.
Right.
So I was on my way in support. And the snow on the road here in Missouri makes.
January 2nd.
Oh, yeah, it was because I was like, wow, way to start off the new year.
Well, they already had their food. I mean, what
People
was the
coming
big
out of
rush?
Yep.
McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it was quite the experience. But I was already laughing at it, So that was was good.
Mere days later, the initial trauma had passed.
What do you even do with the food at that point? You get the McDonald's, hit somebody with the car, and it's like, no.
Well, they didn't.
Well,
that's the thing.
I was going to say,
food.
I made sure not to hit them. I wasn't going to McDonald's. They had just left. They'd gotten their food, left the scene.
I'm loving it. It's a place to be, and then they just go. I don't think they knew Emily existed. Actually,
How could they not? There's so many of us.
That's true. Maybe they were comparing and contrasting while driving, which we don't recommend.
No.
No, don't compare and contrast while driving.
While having your hash brown and coffee.
Right.
That is a lot of multitasking.
That's a lot going on right there. If you just yeah.
There's a lot going on. But at least they prayed for me. Mm-hmm. That was your best construction.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's kind of how we work.
Eighth commandment, y'all.
Right. Okay. So It's So Magical is coming up next. Oh, yes. Go ahead. It's So Magical sort of speaks for itself. If not, we'll speak for it. To reach more people with the gospel, we need to be sending.
Right. Did you want to do that again? Sorry.
I hate you like a soft flow.
It's always like, oh, it's so magical. Mission.
That's just more content for the eventual outtake episode. See? Spoken prophetically.
It was prophetic, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the in case it's not clear to the listener, the worst thing is when you're talking and then your computer decides to make sounds. And so right at the moment we're talking about get involved in God's mission.
Oh, it's so important. And it's just like, I'm trying, are we going to still go for it? Are we just going to go right over it?
It's just from my Aunt Cindy. It'll be okay. If you're listening, Aunt Cindy, that was for you. All right. April Fools. If you signed on looking for missiological content, what we just played was it. And this particular
struck out this week.
We did talk about the Eighth Commandment very, very briefly.
True. Yes.
There's a little Bible content there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've been talking about love.
Right.
We love our listeners. We love
Right.
the team.
Loving
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that good life advice, defensive driving.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No,
Definitely keep that.
solid.
No, there's a lot of takeaways for the listeners this week.
I don't know how much you can trust on April Fools. Just saying, even if it was good advice, ooh.
And when I was still lived in Botswana, the president announced a bunch of cabinet changes on April 1st.
Oh,
and
no.
then it was in the newspaper and nobody was sure if he was serious or not. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's also National Atheist Day.
April 1st?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And I mean, totally serious.
Totally serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice.
What's up next here?
Next up, we got just insert that where it makes sense. All right, here we go.
Okay.
No.
So anyways,
it's
insert that wherever you would like, Andrew, and what makes sense.
Well, that's what made sense to me. I don't know. Got to rickroll your teammates every now and then.
Nothing like a rickroll.
It's in your heads now for the rest of the day.
Yeah. You know that, you ever heard of the Rick Astley paradox?
No.
So yeah, the thing is if you went to Rick Astley and you wanted to borrow the movie Up from him, he would never give you Up, but in so doing, he would let you down. So, anyways,
we've got dad jokes.
Oh man, that's a good one.
oh my goodness. Stay in school.
Stay in
kids.
school. Yeah. Let's say that's the next up. Stay in school.
And it is back to school time coming up around here.
This is true.
No, I don't like that. Okay. Coming up around here.
Go. All up in your business.
All up in your business. Stay in school, kids. Yeah. What can
I was going to say, I don't like that. Back to school. I don't like that.
That's not what I didn't like.
Around here?
It's back around here, yeah. So it's school time
now?
around here. Apparently not in other places. I don't know. But,
well, that's true.
I mean, we are sitting in a high school I think our listeners know that BT's international office is on the campus of a high school, and we have a saying around here that just because we're at a high school.
Around here?
Did I say that again?
Yeah.
Just because we're at a high school doesn't mean we need to act like we're in high school. So that's LBT's secondary tagline.
I was going to say, I haven't heard it before. And this idea
You
of...
haven't behaved accordingly then.
Oh.
So there are people who need to hear that.
Oh, wow.
You know who you are.
But we're so glad you're listening.
Right. Yes.
Stay in school, kids.
Stay in school, kids.
All right, next up we got another personal favorite of mine. This is an electronic sound.
Oh, wow.
That was an electronic sound.
It's just when there was some kind of feedback in the system on that one, but it's priceless that you captured the ooh.
What's going on here? Ooh.
For that, if anybody listening might think it like actually came through in shock or something. Tickle the old eardrums, did it?
Oh, my reactions aren't always... What did I develop?
Oh, you actually live in...
I could just like see with the wide... That was an electronic sound. And that was when Emily knew things weren't as she thought they were. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of that, the unofficial deep philosophies of LBT. All we can do is put God's word.
Just put it in their hands. And their ears. And their eyes for deaf communities.
Well, if they're holding the little player, it's still in their hands.
But what if it's what if they're watching it on the big screen?
They still had to open a gate to get into the compound.
You're saying the gate to the compound is the word?
No, I'm saying that they use their hands. Okay, every analogy breaks down at some point. Here's a script. Let's see what it says.
Glad yours is opening. Mine's not. I'm just going to respond off of what you're saying.
Now people know exactly how we do things around here.
Really
and from this outtake was born the world famous Emily McWilson, who wants to put God's word in your eye.
Put it up in their eyes.
Right in their eye.
In their ears, lassie.
Oh my goodness.
Made sense in my brain.
Yes, put God's word in their hands. That's why we try to stick to the script. For the marketing stuff. Yeah.
Oh dear.
So yeah, if anybody wants to put God's word in their eye it's available. I mean, we're not using it. So. Hey, my phone's telling me it's quitting time, so let's wrap this up.
Sounds good. All right, next up we got our last outtake of the day, and this is what really happens at the end of every episode.
And now Mike Rudowske is calling me, so we'll cut that out.
Do you want me to pause it?
Yeah, go ahead and pause it.
Hey, Rich, it's Mike Rodewald here, and I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the final question for $1 million today is, what is the national bird of Botswana? Is it A, the African fish eagle, B, the hornbill, C, the marabou stork, or D, the Cory bustard? I was hoping you might have a good answer for me here. Thank you so much, Rich.
So what was the right answer?
That was totally Mike Rudowald. That was right. What's an electronic sound? I think it's for Corey Bustard. Is that one of the choices?
So.
I've never heard of that.
It certainly wasn't me imitating Mike.
No,
Not at all.
that.
It's
No.
totally Mike Rodewald asking, and now he has $1 million. So.
Yeah. Oh wow. That was
That's
the
where
top
we got
one.
our funding this year.
Right.
I was wondering.
Yeah. Yep.
Generosity.
Yeah.
All made possible because you answered that call.
That's right. When somebody calls, sometimes you got to answer.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Answer the call. Put the Bible in the ice.
Yes. Right.
It was like we were both distracted by the vacuum, so we're like, yeah, sometimes you got to answer the call.
Okay. Well,
this has been fun.
It's been a lot
A
of fun.
lot of fun.
Yep.
April 1st, guys. We
Don't take yourselves
appreciate
too
you.
seriously. One of the best things I've heard thinking of the Christian faith, and this is serious, is that we have the joy of Christ and just to have some fun and enjoy ourselves. And one of the best witnesses, seriously, of being a Christian is just being able to have fun and enjoy ourselves and just from the joy of life and not other things. So it's been a lot of fun. That's one of the great joys of being on the podcast. It's just all the guests that we have and the content we get to share, but just the fun in producing too. There's a good amount of work that goes into all this.
But you as the listener make it all worthwhile.
Oh,
honestly,
for sure. Yeah.
When we get to see the responses we've gotten and just knowing that there's people out there taking in these stories from around the world, that makes that really brings me joy. And it's fun to be part of this movement of Bible translation and getting all these people connected to that movement and seeing all the ways they fit into what God is doing around the world. It's really, really great.
Yeah. And what a privilege to have Andrew in the studio today.
Oh my
usually
goodness.
on the silent mic, but
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It'll be there.
he's there. Compare and contrast. There's got to be a few Andrew Olsons
There's
too.
more than a few. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
there you go. So
But the one and only for Essentially Translatable.
That's right. So it's been great being with you. I'm Rich Rudowske with my generically named co-hosts. It's been a lot of fun.
Emily Wilson.
And I'm Andrew Olson.
See, again, they could be anybody.
The record button was not pushed before we began.
Oh,
sorry.
That's bad.
April Fools.
April Fools. Thank you for listening to the Essentially Translatable podcast brought to you by Lutheran Bible Translators. Look for past episodes at lbt.org/podcast or on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Lutheran Bible Translators' social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or go to lbt.org to find out how you can get involved in the Bible translation movement and put God's Word in their hands. The Essentially Translatable podcast was produced and edited by Andrew Olson. Our executive producer is Emily Wilson. Podcast artwork was created by Caleb Rodewald and Sarah Lyons. Music written and performed by Rob Veit. I'm Rich Rudowske. So long for now.